2026 isn't a turning point, it's a breaking point. According to astrology, an alignment is coming that occurs every 6,000 years, and humanity will either leap forward or fall behind. On February 20th, two planets, Saturn and Neptune, meet at the exact 0 degree of Aries for the first time since 4,361 BC. The birth of a new order, the rapid collapse of the old order, both. This video won't tell you what will happen, because the question, what will happen, is the wrong one. The right question is, in what reality will you be? There are two timelines after February, and the choice is now. But first, if you felt life speed up in the last 6 months, nothing has begun yet. Part 1. 3 Astrological Breaking Points of 2026. Astrology isn't a calendar, it's an energy map. And there are 3 important turning points on the 2026 map. Each one is a moment of choice for humanity. Turning point 1, February 20th. Saturn, Neptune, Aries, 0 degrees. The first turning point is February 20th. Saturn and Neptune meet exactly at 0 degrees of Aries. Why is this important? Because these two planets meet every 36 years. But at 0 degrees of Aries? Once every 6,000 years. When was the last time? 4,361 BC. It hasn't happened since then, and it won't happen again, at least not in our lifetime. What does this mean? 0 degrees equals pure potential. Nothing is determined yet. Everything is possible. Saturn equals old order, structure, system, authority. Neptune equals dream, vision, illusion, or the unraveling of reality. When the two meet, the old order is unraveling, a new vision is born, and this is happening in Aries. New beginnings, ignition, action. Historically, Saturn-Neptune conjunctions have always led to major changes. 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. The Soviet Union collapsed. 1953, Stalin died. The Cold War began. 1917, the Russian Revolution. Each time, structures of authority collapsed. New orders were born. The same thing is happening in February 2026. But this time, Aries 0 degrees equals a completely new beginning. Turning point 2, April. 8 planets in Aries. The second turning point is April. In April, there will be 8 planets in Aries simultaneously. This is almost unprecedented in the history of astrology. 8 planets equals 8 different energies, all on the frequency of new beginnings. What's happening? A collective awakening, a collective beginning, a collective ignition. Individually, something new will begin in your life. Work, relationship, place, identity, whatever it may be. Collectively, humanity is entering a new era. April 2026, the peak of individual and collective transformation. Breaking point 3, July. Perfect planetary symmetry. The third breaking point is July. On July 18th to 20th, 3 planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, form a perfect trine, each 120 degrees apart. Perfect symmetry. Nothing like this has ever happened before on this date. What does it mean? Uranus equals sudden change, revolution, freedom. Neptune equals dream, mystic, expansion of consciousness. Pluto equals transformation, death, rebirth, depth. When the 3 unite, the moment of a complete collective leap. This July, humanity is moving to a new level of consciousness, collectively. The common message of the 3 breaking points. The same theme is present at all 3 breaking points. The old system is collapsing. A new consciousness is emerging. But this is not automatic. It is a choice. Either you remain within the old system and experience its collapse, or you move forward with a new consciousness and experience the transformation. The choice is yours, but the choice is now. Chapter 2. The divergence between two timelines, fear or love. After 2026, the reality humanity experiences becomes more dependent on the inner world than the outer world. We are no longer talking about a single reality, but two distinct timelines existing simultaneously. These two timelines may physically be in the same world, but they offer completely different experiences in terms of perception, emotion, and level of consciousness. One is a reality based on fear, the other on love. The difference between these two timelines stems not from external conditions, but from the frequency at which you live. Timeline 1. The reality of fear. A person living in a reality based on fear sees disorder, uncertainty, and threat when looking at the world. They notice chaos in the news, conflict in society, and economic collapse. Trust in authorities decreases, systems are perceived to be collapsing, and the future appears bleak. This reality is not entirely imaginary. Yes, there are real crises in the world, wars, and economic fluctuations are felt. But the critical point here is, seeing the whole of this reality is about staying on that frequency, because the mind reinforces everything it focuses on. A mind focused on fear constantly seeks threats. As it finds threats, it produces more fear. The fear produced narrows perception, and the person begins to see only the negative. Thus, the person creates a cycle within themselves. Fear to perception to more fear. This cycle strengthens over time to the point that the person can no longer even perceive that another reality is possible. Timeline 2. The reality of love. In a reality based on love, the same world is experienced in a completely different way. Here, the person sees transformation, not destruction. The collapse of old systems is perceived not as an end, but as the birth of something new. The bonds between people become more meaningful. Small communities form. Solidarity increases, and individuals begin to make more conscious choices. The future may be uncertain, but this uncertainty, instead of creating fear, arouses curiosity and excitement. The same event takes on a completely different meaning from a different perspective. In the reality of fear, a crisis is seen as the end, while in the reality of love, the same crisis is perceived as the beginning. Therefore, both realities are true. However, you cannot experience both simultaneously, because the world you experience is a reflection of the frequency you choose. Why does this distinction arise? The reason for this distinction is that human consciousness has begun to choose its own direction more distinctly. In the past, people were shaped more by external circumstances, but now the inner state influences the external world more strongly. Therefore, low frequency, fear, and high frequency, love, can no longer coexist in the same consciousness for long periods. You may be physically in the same place, talking to the same people, witnessing the same events, but the reality you experience will be completely different. For example, two people are traveling on the same bus. One looks out the window and thinks, everything is getting worse. They feel stress, anxiety, and trapped. The other person looks at the same scene but says, everything is changing. A new era is beginning. There is a sense of inner calm and security. The outside world is the same, but because the inner world is different, reality is experienced differently. How are choices made? The transition between these two timelines happens not with big decisions, but with small and continuous choices. Where your attention goes, your energy goes. Where your energy is, your experience takes shape. If you constantly watch fear-inducing content, think about negative scenarios, and fill your mind with a sense of threat, you will remain on the fear timeline. But if you cultivate gratitude, find meaning even in small things, and learn to remain innerly calm, you will move to the love timeline. This is a very simple principle, but difficult to apply. Because fear is noisy, it is dramatic, it attracts attention, it quickly takes over the mind. Love, on the other hand, is silent. It is deep, it works slowly, but it is lasting. The final question. And now we come to the most important point. You are making a choice every moment, in every thought, in every feeling, in every reaction. Are you nurturing fear or love? Because your choice determines not only that moment, but also the reality you will experience. Chapter 3, 5. Practical Steps. Preparing for 2026. So, what will you do? 5 practical steps. Step 1. Reduce news consumption. The first and most critical step. Consciously reduce the flow of information you are exposed to. Because even if you are unaware, every news item you watch during the day creates a perception of reality in your mind. When you constantly watch content about war, crisis, disaster, and chaos, your brain begins to code the world as a dangerous place. This automatically fixates you to a frequency of fear. The important thing here is, much of this news may be true, but constant exposure doesn't empower you. On the contrary, it mentally exhausts and restricts you. Therefore, it's important to adjust the dosage, not to completely disconnect. 10 minutes a day is more than enough to stay up to date. For the rest of your time, focus on content that nourishes your own mental state, not the reality presented to you by others. Remember, what your mind is fed shapes your reality. Step 2. Find a community. The second step is based on the most fundamental need of human nature: connection. The new era is progressing not with individual consciousness, but with collective consciousness. Previously, systems were built from top to bottom. Large structures, central powers, control mechanisms. But this structure is now dissolving. It is being replaced by smaller, more intimate, and more genuine connections. Neighborhood-based relationships, small communities, shared production areas, sharing of knowledge and skills. These have already begun to quietly form in many parts of the world. In this process, being alone weakens you, but being part of a community strengthens you both psychologically and physically. You can join a group, or if there isn't one, you can create your own group by forming a small circle. Because the future will be a structure built not by lonely individuals, but by interconnected people. Step 3. Strengthening interconnection. The third step is the least understood, but the deepest: opening up interconnection. You might think of this as a mystical or distant concept, but it's actually based on a very simple principle: silencing your mind and moving toward deeper awareness. In the noise of daily life, most people can't even hear their own inner voice. Yet intuition, a sense of direction, and inner guidance emerge precisely in this silence. Developing this isn't complicated. More silence, more contact with nature, short but regular meditations, and from time to time, simply stopping and doing nothing. Even looking at the night sky strengthens this connection, because at that moment, your mind lets go of control and opens to a broader perspective. This isn't a necessity, it's a matter of permission. When you give yourself permission, the door already begins to open. Step 4. Prepare materially. The fourth step is entirely practical and realistic. Be prepared. The world isn't always stable, and there can be fluctuations from time to time. This isn't something to be feared. It's a reality to be accepted. Therefore, instead of panicking, it's necessary to take simple and logical precautions. Keeping some cash at home, stocking up on food that will last a long time, finding simple solutions for access to clean water, thinking of small alternatives in case of power or system outages. These are to create a sense of, I am prepared, without going to extremes. Preparation comes from awareness, not fear. And a prepared mind doesn't panic in times of crisis. It produces solutions. Step 5. Choose your frequency every day, every moment. When you wake up in the morning, what frequency am I choosing today? When you see a news item, do you react with fear or love? When you talk to someone, are you complaining or grateful? Every moment is a choice, and every choice determines which timeline you are on. 2026 is not just a calendar year, it's a leap in consciousness. Astrologically, it's an opportunity that comes once every 6,000 years. Humanity will either leap forward or fall behind. Which side will you be on? In the reality of fear, chaos, collapse, darkness? Or in the reality of love, communities, galactic connections, a new order? The choice is yours. And the choice is now. Because after February, the timelines will diverge, and it's hard to go back. If you liked this video, comment. I choose the love timeline. I wonder how many people will choose this. Subscribe. In the next video, I'll explain what happens after February. Thank you.